Yeah, so welcome to Downloadable Discontent, where the content's large and no extra charge. I've got a bit of a disclaimer for you before we start the video. If you have not played Dishonored, the base game, or the Knife of Dunwall expansion, I do not recommend you check this out because it will have spoilers. But not only that, this expansion is relevant to Dishonored 2 and Death to the Outsider standalone expansion. So if you've not played or seen those yet, I don't recommend you check out this video. I would like to have some reviews out for that, but don't quote me on that. So I hope you enjoy the video. I'm glad that's out of the way. Let's get on with the video. After discovering the identity of Delilah and deciding the fate of Billy Lurk, Dowd is halfway through to resting easy. He's visited by Corvo, and we all know how that ends. Or so we thought. Dowd wakes up from his dream of defeating the Royal Protector, reminded that he has unfinished business with the leader of the Brigmore witches. In typical Dishonored fashion, this isn't as clear-cut as one would hope. We first need to secure transport, a captain and crew, and find a way to stop the coven once and for all. As I'm playing this in low chaos mode, because we can load our previous save data in the Knife of Dunwall, there are things here that will look and sound different to high chaos and brand new runs. In low chaos, your fellow whalers doubt your leadership and your reputation is slipping away. At this point in the base game, gangs were running rife, the overseers were more fervent in their hunt for heretics, and the Lord Regent is getting comfortable in the Cauldron throne. In order to redeem himself, Dowd must use his wile and guile to bring two gangs together, or destroy them, whatever means are necessary. You'll have a tough time doing that though. This expansion has rooms and corridors tighter than an overseer's boy pussy. There's an increased guard presence in all three missions, which makes sneaking and slaughtering all the more difficult. Should you decide to go loud, your skill at parrying will need to be exceptional and bring either a ton of grenades or choke dust for large clusters of enemies. This'll help against standard foes, but you'll meet your match in Brigmore Manor. The witches can teleport in and out of combat, summon immortal hounds and rival Dowd's hand-to-hand combat techniques. On the other hand, if you decide to go for low chaos, you'd be better off evading enemies rather than choking them or using stun mines, thanks to the cones of visions you'll need to be aware of. Bone charms, abilities and gadgets from your previous save file will make this a cakewalk, but there's only a handful of new toys in this expansion. Baffle Dust confuses enemies that have caught sight of you. The pull ability lets you disarm the few traps there are and grab valuable items from afar. And finally, yes, that's all there really is in terms of gadgets and other goodies, there's the corrupted bone charms, which offer much greater effects. And penalties. As cool as they sound, I wasn't into them enough to use them often, but the imaginative amongst you will surely find good use for them. What the game lacks in crunch, it more than makes up for in fluff. You won't use many of the witch's items against them, but who needs trinkets when knowledge is power? The books and notes lying around are far more useful and worth the time to read, plus there's no small amount of fan service and references.
This better be worth it.
Why do you never flush the toilet?
You can save the guard who helped Corvo escape from prison, you meet the Bottle Gang's rivals, the Hatters, and your kills in COD, Knife of Dunwall, are remembered with scorn by Delilah's lot. These all play a critical role and only embolden the wonder of Dunwall. We see Coldridge from a new perspective, breaking in rather than out. We see how bad things can get even for the upper class, and the Brigmore witches' plans make more sense with every critical action we take. You're put in an environment where Dowd is desperate, relying on others and getting absorbed into how the criminal underclasses and guards have to keep control of their turf. With the release of Dishonored 2 and the standalone expansion, Death to the Outsider, this DLC could not be any more relevant. It's just a shame how there's few ways to creatively deal with targets, even though they are elaborate. Out of the 3 missions, only 2 of them allow for a high chaos kill, and I couldn't find a way to cripple the already deteriorating leader of the Hatters. This really is an expansion for looking and listening, rather than lambasting, which isn't all that bad. Again, it'll put a lot of the events of Dishonored 2 into perspective. The Brigmore witches can easily be completed in just over an hour if you have no care for detection or the lore. However, those who take their time either sneaking or cutting a bloody swath through the expansion may find it anywhere between 2 and 4 hours long. It's a pity that the conclusion to Dowd's story arc isn't as gory or glorious as COD. No, not that one. That one! Pushing the envelope on interrogation and infiltration. Instead, you get a guided tour of Dunwall, revisiting a remodeled prison, the streets without hassle, and a waterlogged mansion. Everything looks prettier, and the locations here are far more memorable than the prior exploits of Dowd. But the urge to revisit them in a different chaos mode is lacking. The added challenge did make me want to see if I could do all these levels undetected though, I'll give it that. And it's all in a package of the changed price from £7.99 to £3.99, a price befitting the content and length. Alternatively, you could get this as part of the definitive edition for £14.99 with updated visuals. To conclude, it being the second part of an incomplete story is still a problem for me, but its impact has shaped Dishonored and its future content. We'll find out soon enough if that's a good thing. Alternatively, you could get this as part of the definitive edition for £14.99 with updated visuals. See, this is what happens when I try to do my posh voice. Jesus.